Hi everyone, let me know if you can hear me. It should be all right. Just scrolling back. You're so impatient. You had a couple of minutes between the streams. Now I got distracted because I had my own stream open in another window to chat with you, and I had to listen to my own voice. That's never a good thing. More henge. I'm not the one who's abusing henge, but you can do that. Yep. Seen that. Good, good. We could talk about plant-based nutrition if you like, even Ian. I just like mixed your two names there. Ian, Lev, Ivan, whatever. So, how are we making this the bestest stream ever? Phil, welcome all the way from Wales. That's cool. We don't have too many Welsh people, do we? Where is Science Unbiased? Said he was waiting. Robert, I have my Frank Tufano approved Bluetooth headphones on. My brain's being fried with EMF. You know what, Robert? I have that at work every day. I know it's not ideal, but it's keeping me sane at work when I'm working. Shell. Shh. You will trigger the beast. Trouble, are you from Derbyshire? Where? I used to live there. Or in a small village called Willington, not too far from Derby. Like 10 minutes drive or something. Welsh lives matter. Very good. We're talking. That's lies, because I could hear myself going through. Okay, a real question. John Doe, what's your take on berberine? I think from what I've seen, berberine is equally good as metformin. And the only problem with berberine, I think, is probably, you will have to get a brand that you trust and one that can be consistent with the dosage. I used to work in a quality control lab in a facility that made herbal tinctures. And what we were looking at when we did the analysis, we analyzed to see that there was a minimum amount of the active ingredients in any sort of extract. So if it has a stamp of, some sort of quality control approval, it will have a minimum amount of whatever it says on the bottle. But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be more in there. So, if you find a brand that you find is quite consistent, all good, but I would probably, depending on how sensitive you are to berberine, but I think you will be fine. I would take that any day before metformin myself. I would just try it out, titrate it up and down to find the perfect dose for me. So yeah, I think it's probably a good thing. Cheater. Why would you move to Wales from Australia? But you need to tell her, oh, my sound was off. Kung Fu. So you're here on time, you're here early, and you need to get your shit sorted, basically. Science Unbiased. I have finally listened to your lovely song. Is that you singing, is what I want to know. It's pretty awesome. It started out like almost like a Disney theme song, and it just kicked off. It was super cool. So Science and Bias sent me a song for my a 30-day. I usually run the 30-day no sugar challenge, a motivational song. It was pretty cool. I can play it if you would allow it. We don't have enough trolls here, so feel free. I think I had one once. Cornell, I love you. What's your favorite food and why pizza? Pizza is not my favorite food. Ben and Jerry's ice cream is my favorite food, if that counts as food. I don't know. If we're talking naughty foods, anyway. Otherwise, favorite food, favorite food. I'm eating a lot of carpaccio right now because I love it. But yeah, when we're talking favorite food, obviously I'm thinking about the naughty stuff that we shouldn't be eating. Right. Hello from France. Bonjour or bonsoir. I don't know what time it is in France. Probably quite late. Lindley, I haven't seen you for a week or two. Welcome back. I'm glad to have you here. Yes, Pim, delete my sugar cravings, please. I can do that, Wacky Toaster. On Monday, this coming week, we are starting a new group with people going through an 8-week erase your sugar cravings group. If you're interested in that, if you haven't got, I don't know, if you're not in my group or my email list, you probably don't know about it. Send me an email if you're interested, and I will talk you through it or whatever you need to do. Pim@pimjansson.com. So we can do that, absolutely. Where in Holland are you? I'm in Utrecht. Cool. I know where that is. What did you forget, Shell? I'm confused now. I don't know. It's easy to confuse me sometimes, but I really don't know. Going for, as long as you don't deliver that pizza here, go for it. Yes, sugar and carbs are pure evil. It's an addiction. I know. I totally agree. It's awful. Oh, okay. The pizza, was that it? Hey son. You Elikis? I don't even know how Elikais. Why are you speaking Swedish? That's my question. Still stand with honey. Okay. And Aussie lives matter too. Trouble. I used to work near Wellington in a village called Sawley. I'm not sure I know Sawley. Is that actually really close? Or is it just me not paying attention to what they call? Wellington is awesome. That's where both my puppies actually grew up. And I live next to a field where you could walk through a farmer's field where they usually grow corn or wheat or something into the football field, which was very close. So that was my quick morning walk. It's a nice place. Okay. Robert Wedlow, do you take any supplements, not only vitamins and minerals, but any ergogenic or things like that? Okay, so I don't really take supplements. I do have supplements in the house. So I have GABA that I tried out for my sleep before. I thought it helped, but then I figured that it probably didn't help, so I'm not sure whether it actually helps or not. I have magnesium citrate, which I take occasionally. And unfortunately, I used to tolerate citrate really well. I don't anymore, so I'm kind of a bit wary of taking them, even taking half the dose. What else do I have? I do actually have some vitamin D, but I haven't taken them in a couple of years, so I should probably throw them away because they're a bit old now. And that might be something for someone to take in winter or whatever. So, anything else I have? If you are counting like potassium as a supplement, I do use potassium and sodium in my snake juice. But that's about it. Cornell, you're spoiling me. Still love you. Do you have any knowledge on parasites that you can share? That was very, very broad. I'm not actually. My dad once tried to talk me into taking a PhD in parasitology, which is quite funny, just because he has some relative that was looking for some professor guy that was looking for a PhD student in Spain of all places, and I don't even speak Spanish, so that would have been interesting. Either way, I declined. So no, I'm not really good at parasites as such. I have basic knowledge as a biomedical scientist, but I don't have any specialist knowledge of any specific parasites. But if you ask me about a specific one, I will tell you what I know about that one. But I think most people probably have some parasites or have been subjected to them at some point, and I don't necessarily think that they are bad. So, I mean, there are lots of studies that have been done, and people have been looking at whether, we need all those kind of, ringworms or hookworms, whatever it is, to uh, trigger our immune systems and actually have the immune systems develop naturally, because we would normally have naturally been subjected to those kind of things. The problem is when we're not sick, when our immune systems do not work properly, then we will obviously get very sick from having those parasites. Excuse me, but I just need to sort the heating out here because it's very cold. There you go. So I don't think parasites. I mean, the malaria parasite is obviously not ideal. I don't think it adds any health benefit to most people. Having said that, obviously there is one or was one anyway, in Africa. That's why people with sickle cell disease survive better, or they have one gene for sickle cell, etc. But in general, we don't necessarily want parasites. Many of them are not good for us, but I think the major problem is that so many of us, we don't have normal, well-functioning immune systems, and that's why they are becoming a problem. So that was my long, non-specific answer to your very non-specific question. Let's see where we were. So I only came to Wales on a working holiday and accidentally got stuck here. Wasn't planned. Okay, that's funny. That's what many people do in New Zealand, I guess. Zach, question: is carnosine beneficial to those with more insulin resistance? Just curious. I'm really sorry, but I have no clue. You mean carnosine? Isn't that how you spell it? Oh, there is a carnosine. Okay. I would have to look that up because that's not something that I actually know much about. So I'm sorry for that. If you leave that with me, and if you are here next week, I will have a look at that for you. Let's see. So next week, Zach, I'll have an answer for you. Lol, gotta love Pim. I'm not sure why, but I love you too, Bo. Exactly. Where's Blinkers? I think it's rude. He's probably sleeping because it's bloody early where he's. So Fappers is our troll. Good, good. And so is Bowerbird. So we have 2 trolls here today. Can calcification occur anywhere in the body, like in the organs themselves? Yeah, you can get calcification, but the thing with the blood vessels, when you get calcification, there's that blood vessels are obviously subjected to high pressure over and over again. There are a lot of things floating around in there that can damage the blood vessels, and when they repair, you can get calcification. So it's much more likely and to a much higher degree, probably. Yes, I said I had one at one point, but I don't know. I can't even remember. We had someone called Vegan Truth that was trolling a bit, mostly in the comments. Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I tried about a month ago because because of me, and I hated it. After prefer my homemade ice cream. But I really, really did not want to promote Ben and Jerry's ice cream to anyone, and it's super sweet. So if you don't like super sweet, because I'm a sugar addict, then you won't like it. But it's really, really sweet and creamy, and it's like lovely if you love sugar. If you're not a sugar fiend, you probably will be a bit like, whoa, that's a bit too much. Uh, yes, naughty foods. Homemade food rocks. Yeah. Robert, can we confidently say the microbiome influences sugar cravings, or is this just based on mouse studies? You know what, Robert? I think that the microbiome is determined by what you are eating. So when you eat a lot of sugar and other things, you will get a microbiome that is pretty much dependent on sugar for energy. So when you try to quit, you still have the microbiome that is dependent on this, and that can cause those cravings. If you can stay away from that, your microbiome will probably change. Maybe not so much if you're eating a lot of other, a lot of other carbs, then might not change so much because you will still feed it. But if you go on a low carb diet, it will change. It will maybe take, a few weeks to change completely. And you're going to have to go through those cravings. But I do think it's possible to change your microflora, or I know it is. To what degree, I can't tell you. But if you don't give the microflora the substrate that it wants or needs to survive, then it's not going to survive. It's going to be taken over by a different species that will actually thrive on the current diet that you actually have. So I'm pretty sure that they do excrete different molecules into your body that will cause craving, etc. I'm sure that they do. It's just not. It's not just that some people are born with this and then they're stuck with it forever. That is something that will change with whatever you're eating. So it's not a long-term problem unless you want it to be. When I started eating carnivore, I read you should eat a tablespoon of cod liver oil a day, so I bought some cold pressed. Okay. It's interesting. Where did you read that and why? I would just, sure, eat that cod liver oil if you like. As most of you know, I'm not a huge fan of supplemental oils in general. I do think they have a place as, nutritional therapy rather than something that we do on a daily basis. And I say that because I'm working in a fish oil refinery, or I'm working in the lab and I'm analyzing these oils. And I can tell you that our highest quality oil, although it's very low in oxidation products, both primary and secondary, there will always be some oxidation taking place. So the longer you store it, the longer since you made this oil, the more oxidized it's going to be. And oxidation is never a good thing. Would I use fish oil myself? Yes, if I had any sort of traumatic brain injury or something like that, I would do that. And I would do it as a way of repairing my brain. And I think it would be worth the risk of those oxidation products at that time, because it would be more beneficial for me to repair my brain with enough omega-3s. But I would also make sure that I got enough, grass-fed beef fat in my diet, because that also contains a lot of omega-3s. Now, I wouldn't go and just supplement with it every day. And if you're taking a tablespoon of cod liver oil, I don't know, usually it's like a 500 milliliter bottle or something. A tablespoon is 15 milliliters. So you have quite a few days worth of oil in that bottle. every time you open the bottle, you let new oxygen into that bottle, which means that for every day you have this bottle, even if it's stored in the fridge, it will oxidize more and more as you get, lower and lower in there. I've done some experiments with secondary oxidation products and bottles being stored in a fridge, being opened, and they keep pretty well, I must say. So in terms of increasing the secondary oxidation products from time of opening of the bottle until you consume it, if you're eating every day, is not a lot. But in terms of the primary oxidation products, it will oxidize a lot. It's not great, and that can cause further oxidation inside of your body. But, I don't like it. I prefer encapsulated oils for that reason, but they need to be stored cold, they need to be stored in the dark, and you don't know what the actual status is of that oil when you purchase it. So even good brands might not be, top notch every single time. So that was my long rant on fish oils, and you didn't even ask for my opinion, you just said. So there you go. I thought the backdrop was too nice for New Zealand. Yes, I'm in Greece. Sort of. I don't know where that is from, but it's nice. Since I saw your video on, okay, here we go, about omega-3 supplements, I started the question if I should take it. Is there a chance cod liver oil is rancid as well? The simple answer is yes, absolutely. I haven't tested cod liver oil ever. I have tested what we have had here is the only liver oil we have ever had is hoki liver oil, but it's no different to any other oil. Vegetable lives matters. Oh, poor veggies. You know how many blueberries I kill in one sitting when I go for them? Poor blueberries. Okay, so Seoul is about 20 minutes from Wellington. In what direction? I'll just have to look it up on the map. That's going to help a lot more. So someone throw me a topic for my live stream. If no one has, vegan eggs. I would be interested in vegan eggs. What the actual fuck are they? They must be terrible. Zach, what are your thoughts on that German product, Magnetic Mat, Dr. Dannenberg, you mean? Spoke of better than earthing or no? You are talking about the one that he used for mitochondrial health, I assume. I mean, I haven't tried it. I think it's interesting, and if you are someone that think that you will benefit from it, if you know that you have mitochondrial damage, which by the way, most people over 40 probably have to some degree, and if you have the money, I do absolutely think that that could be a thing. Now, I haven't done a lot of research on it, I'm going to admit that, but from everything that I know that those kind of therapies can absolutely work. So if you have the money, if you want to try it, if I had the money, I would probably just buy it because I like those kind of things. Every little helps, and I have no doubt that it's actually working. Oh, holy crap. Super chat. John Doe, thank you so much. That wasn't a super chat, it was a super sticker that I can't even see because I'm in this silly StreamYard. But thank you so much. I don't know what it was, but it was, I'm sure, very pretty. Let's see. It's interesting to go from Bart's video to this. Such a contrast. Yeah. Am I too boring for you, Robert? I'm sorry. We have to make it more fun. Who wants to swear live? Then I will be demonetized. Let's see. I have a relaxing voice. Sorry, I hope it's not too weird to say. Oh, I've heard it so many times and I don't really get it. And who was it? It wasn't... Maybe it was you, Zach. No, it wasn't you. It was someone else. It wanted me to record a like a hypnosis video or something. I was like, I don't know anything about that sort of thing. So how's the internet speed where I am? Any better than in New Zealand? Well, I am in New Zealand, Zach. I was just kidding when I said Greece. I was just wishing that I was in Greece because it's probably nice and warm there right now. So I don't know. The speed is still what it is here. It's not the best. See, here we go. Shell. I don't know how to take this. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. Yes, science and bio. Yes, that was me. Better not play it live. People may have eaten recently. I did think it would be cool if your boyfriend tried to shred the electric guitar in the instrumental section. I would pass it on to him. We shall see what we can do. Maybe that will be a project of ours when I take up drumming again. I don't have time to even think about that right now, but if I can quit my job one day, then I've said once I do, I will dedicate some time to teach myself to play the drums again. Some say everyone has parasite, it seems, in order to sell their wormwood or whichever supplements. I don't doubt that everyone could potentially have some sort of parasite, but the thing is that if your immune system is working well, you might just, it's just not an issue. That's the thing. If you were testing for every single parasite, you might find something. I mean, I can't say because I don't know for sure that every single person have them, but I think it's likely that most people, especially if you haven't taken a lot of antibiotics and stuff, that you might have some. Zach, we're on the 900, 600 fiber in Nelson, and yesterday I was getting 130 over 50. And my problem here is that I don't even have a hardwire cable to my computer, so I might be even ways off. But it's streaming, and I'm here. I haven't dropped out yet, so it's all good. Trouble. You're not even talking to me. But how to influence our parents to give up a terrible diet? Well, that's going to be hard to do. Parents very rarely listen to their children with regards to that. Bo, I swear I rewound that comment of yours 3 times about Kay. Problem is she will use it against you in future. No humor. I don't know what kind of comment. Phil, if I can only afford 2.5 kilo of good steak a week, can I use fat offcuts from the butcher, and how much roughly would I eat of that a day? Okay, yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you get fat offcuts, preferably beef from grass-fed cows if they have that, because that's going to be so much better quality than anything else. 2.5 kilos per week. That is still a lot. I need a calculator now because I can't do this in my head. So that's 360 grams per day of meat. It's not bad. I don't know how big you are, but you could probably do a little bit more. Maybe you can add a couple of eggs, and depending on how much fat you feel like you need. So you can add, if you're looking on a plate, you can add up to, 50-50 of fat and protein, or slightly less, maybe 25% is protein, or 25% of the protein that you have is fat. So yeah, you just play around with that a little bit. Don't try to force it in. If you feel like, no, I can't eat that much fat, it doesn't feel good to me, then don't do it. Just try to add something else, and eggs are quite cheap-ish normally. Yes, Shell. If you find yourself dragging your ass along the carpet, you probably have worms. But that's the thing, is that if you're a healthy, normal human being, you might not notice anything. If you have some very persistent health problem that you can't seem to get rid of, you might have a parasite. And the problem is that most doctors don't even know about those obscure things that parasites can cause. So it could be a very long road to recovery and detection of what kind of parasite it is, because not all parasites are common or easy to detect or whatever. So depends on what it is. Sorry. While you're over there, you should visit that Belgrade keto place where they are doing some amazing things and be a great interview. Do you still think I'm in Greece? Because I said so. Belgrade keto place. I need to Google that. Let's see. Oh, that looks like I got something that is in Serbia. So that's not quite where I am, but that would be cool as well. Cornell, you are just showering me with Romanian lines and affection today. When I get too drunk, I use Hensch's videos for self-induced vomiting. Very good. I'm glad you have a use for them other than just pure entertainment. That's too funny. So I'm glad you're here, Cornell, because you're funny. I don't always understand what you're doing, but that's fine. And I'm being kind of Harry-ish today because I'm very far behind in the chat. Let's see where we are. Robert says, do you think we'll be getting a meaningful greater amount of creatine eating blue or very rare beef versus eating it medium rare, like enough to improve performance and recovery? That's probably not so much, I don't think. Might be slight difference, but what is your ability of absorbing it as well? Something you need to take into consideration. So I'm not convinced. I should probably get like someone, a long-term raw carnivore on who has a lot of experience in this field on this channel to just talk about that. Would be interesting. Not just that, but talking about the differences. So if you don't like eating it blue or very rare, I wouldn't force myself to eat it just to maybe get a little bit more creatine in. You would probably get enough creatine anyway. Lindy says, Helicobacter pylori is a sneaky parasite, or maybe it's just a bacteria. That makes one think it's a parasite because of its symptoms. Yeah, it's a bacteria because you can treat it with antibiotics, but yes. And that's a very good example as well. Many people have it, but not everyone is sick from it. It's because on its own, it's not going to do a lot of damage and repopulate that quickly if you are healthy. So there you go. Here comes Bart with carnosine reply. It's a dipeptide with anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and anti-glycation, anti-ischemic, and chelating roles, and is available as an over-the-counter food supplement. You didn't answer the question, though. The question was whether that is good for insulin resistance. 32 watching, now it's 29. I'm so boring, people are dropping off. How am I doing that? I'm sorry. So either way, if there's just 18 thumbs up, you need to get the shit together and thumbs it up. John Doe, I get the results from my blood exam. A1C 5.2, isn't that too high? Also, my cholesterol is too high, 2.44. HDL 0.72, which is good, but LDL 1.61 is high too, which is supposed to be bad. So A1C, sure, on paper maybe it's a little bit high, but what you want to take into consideration, I don't know what you're normally eating. So there are several aspects to this. You are basing A1C on the assumption that your red blood cells live for 3 months. So if they survive for longer than that, you're going to get more glycation. If they survive for shorter than that, you're going to get less glycation. So let's say someone who eats a lot of sugar, normally they would that sugar would glycate a lot of cells. So if the red blood cells lived for the presumed amount of time, maybe that would be 7%. However, the red blood cells do not survive for that long. They might be living 2.5 months. So the highest reading they're actually going to get is a 6. So it's not going to look as bad as it actually is. Whereas someone who's eating no sugar or a zero carb diet or a very low carb diet, their blood cells might live another month. So by the end of that month, their glycation level might be much, much higher than it's supposed to be. So I don't really like A1C when we're talking about the difference between, oh, it's a little bit high or it's a little bit, just a little bit too high. If it was 7, 9, 14, sure, then obviously it's way too high. But if your blood cells are just living longer and you have 5.2, you might be perfectly fine. So you don't know that. So I would more look at, what's your diet like? I wouldn't worry about your cholesterol at all. Cholesterol is good. I don't really know where the cutoff is, but it goes down every bloody year. So just because someone says that is a normal cutoff doesn't mean that it is. It's just that they want it to be as low as possible so they can prescribe as many statins as possible. HDL and LDL. LDL, sure, you might want to look at that, but if you don't eat an inflammatory diet, if you're not inflamed, you don't really have to worry about that. Honestly, just don't worry about it. I think you're probably fine. Okay, any tips to be able to handle hay fever better? I use a saline solution to flush nasal passages, which helps temporarily. I'm wary of over-the-counter antihistamines. I'm sorry, I'm on antihistamines daily, and I have been for many, many years because of hay fever. So I'm the wrong person to ask because I do not have an answer for you. And believe me, I've tried many, many things. And if it's really bad, I also flush my sinuses. But that is nothing that is going to take away the itching in my ears and the itching in my throat. So I need those antihistamines. And what I'm doing now to just not overdose on them is just I take half the dose, and that is enough for me. So I'm just, if I could cut that in half again, I probably would, just to minimize it, but it's not really, they're very small, so it's hard to do. So I'm sorry, I don't have a very good answer for you. I heard about lots of carnivores getting rid of their their allergies, etc., on a carnivore diet. I'm hoping that maybe that will be me one day. I don't know yet. I'll see what happens in spring, if that's getting better, but I'm on them daily, whether that is allergies or maybe it could be oxalates or something as well. I don't know, but time will tell. I'm still experimenting. Zach, how would people break up or reduce scar tissue from injury? I've heard it's impossible to do that. Is that true? There are people that probably work with that, and I can imagine that they're using different, ultrasound and light therapies, etc. All I say is that you would probably need some sort of autophagy to happen. If not, how are you going to get rid of it? I had an interview with a guy called Philip yesterday, which will come out on Tuesday for most of you. And he actually mentioned that his scar tissue reduced on a carnivore diet. So that's kind of interesting. And he wasn't fat, he didn't lose any weight, rather he's put on weight. So maybe, maybe that could work. But yeah, it's like you always have very complicated questions. It's like you need to be a doctor to answer these, but doctors probably don't even know anyway. There are a lot of like specialist questions, and I think this is one of those. I would do some research if, on that, and have a look at what kind of therapies people are using, and then maybe try that in combination with, intermittent fasting at least, or more long-term fasting to kind of get that happening. Because if there is scar tissue and it's excessive, then that should be broken down at some point. That's funny, Phil. Yes. He should have. Bad watchdog. Okay, so you're doing keto. Yeah, you can probably assume that your red blood cells live longer than the average red blood cell. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Absolutely not. Bowerbird, Zach, health coach Kate put out a vid about red light therapy and how it can stimulate scar repair. Okay, cool. So I thought some, light therapy, etc. But yeah, what I said earlier is still valid from my point of view. Does cod liver oil contain aldehydes as fish oil does? Yes. Aldehydes, so oxidation works the way, first you have your oil. If it has a lot of omega-3s, it's more prone to oxidation, rather than if it's like an omega-6 oil, it's a little bit more stable. So what is happening is that first you have a primary oxidation, which will oxidize the oil. And that's the first step. Then that oxidized oil that has been oxidized can oxidize again. And that is the secondary oxidation. And that leads to aldehyde formation, amongst other things. So any omega-3 oil can form aldehydes, or any unsaturated oil can do. Yes, go and watch. If you're watching his whole playlist, you will have something to do for a year. But yeah, search for cholesterol, and you'll probably find something very interesting. Okay. Thanks, Pimp. Meant a teaspoon. Oops, haven't touched it for months now. Yeah. Okay, so it's the same thing. A teaspoon. Sure, you won't get as much on a daily basis, either beneficial or unbeneficial, but then that bottle will last you much longer and will get even more oxidized. Oh, I remember having to swallow a tablespoon of whale liver oil as a kid, but glad family kid. Holy shit, that must have tasted awful. If you want more O3, ozone, I guess, eat some fish or some lamb brains, much better than pills. Okay. Not sure, but go ahead. Real food is always better, but I'm not sure what. Oh, you mean omega-3, not ozone. Okay, that makes more sense. Sure, absolutely. If you can get it from real food, just do it, whether that be fish or, fish brains, cow fat, grass-fed, always grass-fed, otherwise you won't get the benefits. Let's see then. I'm going to scroll down. I'm trying to keep these to an hour, but you guys are chatting a lot, which I appreciate, by the way. It's just not everything isn't questions. So there we go. Wacky Toaster. How about D3 supplements? Here in Europe, pretty much everyone is given them from the doc at times because of wintertime and such. I think it's brilliant. I think that is needed, especially in, Northern Europe. But even so, further down, depending on where you are, if you have a lot of sun in summer, maybe you will be able to get away with it. But honestly, most people are not out in the sun naked on a daily basis, even during summer. So I imagine that most people are not able to build up the storage of vitamin D3 that they would have if this had been 5,000 years ago. So I think D3 supplements probably yes, thumbs up from me. That's why I have been taking them. I used to actually take them with K2. Just remember that now, but I'm not normally supplementing with them now. But I probably might do at some point again. So yeah, one thing with D supplements though is that actually D3 or D is a fat soluble vitamin. So if you take it in like a hard tablet to something and you just eat it on its own, you're probably not going to absorb a lot of that. So this is where I'm making an exception, and this is where I personally take D3 in any sort of other oil, preferably olive oil, because it's a little bit more stable. And ideal, maybe not, but I think the payoff is worth it. No, never boring. Good. Just ASMR. Those says maybe I had cod liver oil too, but they made it more interesting by calling it whale oil. Don't know. All my relatives are dead, so we can't ask them whether it was actually whale liver oil or cod liver oil. What a shame. Yeah, I'm glad you feel that way, Shell. Maybe I should read bedtime stories. Maybe that should be my primary YouTube channel, just reading bedtime stories. Okay. Let's see then. I've challenged a few meal delivery companies on why they cook with and use vegetable oil and claim they're healthy. They just said it was and provided no proof. Of course they are, because they're not scientists, they're not anything. They just follow the advice, the general advice, and they're gonna do that. They could not cook with lard and say that this is healthy, because that's not what the health authorities are saying. So they need to follow those things, and they're just going to read the papers. This is what's healthy, this is what's not. They're not going to be interested in providing any evidence for that, unfortunately. Okay. Yes, Cornell putting everyone to shame with his super chats. Yeah, so either Cornell has to stop or you guys have to start. You know what I prefer. Let's see. Daniel, I like my steaks to be moving. Yeah, me too. The last month, or at least 2-3 weeks. No, it's probably much more than that. I'm starting to come off of cooked meat. I really, really want it. I'm eating kind of carpaccio-ish meat every day, almost. If it's beef, if it's something else, but I'm eating mainly beef. If it's something else, I'll cook it, but yeah. I got an idea. Belinda Fetka on your channel. She's a stone throw away. Too intelligent woman talking about diet and health. Should be good. I can ask, absolutely. I haven't asked her. Problem is with when you have a small channel like mine with 1,400 subs, it's sometimes hard to get some people to appear. So I'm really, really excited about it and grateful that Sally K. Norton will be here in a week. It's my interview with her. So that would be super cool. Maybe that will also help to get other people to come on, like bigger names, bigger profiles. So yeah, it would be cool. But I can absolutely ask her. Luke, back from training again. I may have lost a bit too much minerals by accident. Was shaky and weak, all under control now. You're always late, Luke. Do you always have to exercise when doing my stream? Let's see then. So Daniel says, I stopped taking a daily Allegra a while back, but currently my mom's yellow lab that I'm watching is bugging me from some. Okay. Poor yellow lab. Yeah, red light therapy is super expensive. There are things like infrared light devices that you can buy, but I'm not, I haven't read up enough about that to know what brand or what wavelengths you need to use and what intensity, etc. So, question: I had this gene test done, and supposedly I have an elevated chance of suffering a folate deficiency. That said, what would be the point of shelling out for a folate supplement as they suggest? Um, yeah, well, first of all, you need to make sure that you're taking folate and not folic acid. If that's the problem, methylated anything. I don't even know if they sell methylated folate. That wouldn't make any sense, would it? Maybe. But you probably have a methylation problem. Yeah, they do sell methyl folate. So that's probably what I would do if you're going to supplement with folate, if you think you need that. But the thing is that, do you know that you need that, or is it just that you think that, well, maybe I should be taking that? So a lot of the time we want to just add a lot of supplements for the sake of adding them because we think they might be beneficial when they're actually not. So, but if you do anything, when you say that you have an elevated chance of suffering a folate deficiency, I am assuming that that is the MTHFR. So anything methylated would probably be your best bet. Oh, no, I jumped in the chat. Okay. Good, because I'm extremely low. Last time I checked, I had 9 milligrams or nanograms. So basically, I was dead. Are we talking about... Thanks, Finn. Are we talking about the vitamin D now? You shouldn't be dead with that level, but yeah, that's way too low. Just the thing is that take the supplements and go and retest, because for some people they don't actually absorb it very well either. But in your case, if that's what your levels are, I would be mega dosing on D3. Absolutely. For a period of time, then retest. So many people suggest 5,000 IU per day for a period of time. The good thing with vitamin D is that you can store it, so you don't actually need to take it every day, but you could take it, like, let's say 30,000 IUs twice a week or something like that. Some people would suggest even more. You can go and check out what the Vitamin D Council recommends. They're not, the normal government-sponsored establishment, so they will probably give you some better advice there. But I will probably go quite high for a period of time just to try to get those levels up, because you're quite far from ideal, and then see what's happening. But unfortunately, you will have to retest to know where you're at. Some people absorb it really well, some people not so much. Do you think, like Paul Saldin, that eating specific organ parts can help heal those organs in you? Kidney heals kidneys, etc. So I'm not sure what his thinking is behind this, but what I do think is that if you have a specific deficiency, which means that your kidneys aren't functioning properly and you're eating kidneys, you're very likely to get more of whatever it is that you are lacking. So that would probably help. Now, I don't think, eating kidney is necessarily going to heal the kidney, depending on what the problem is, or eating heart will not necessarily heal the heart. But what I do think is that it contains the right mix of, minerals, vitamins, and whatever you have in there that might be beneficial for that organ. Paul is saying some strange things sometimes. I love Paul, and I think his current eating honey experiment is interesting, but I would like to ask him, like, you might be doing fine blood sugar wise, your body's responding perfectly to that. Excuse me. But Where in the nature would you have been eating that much honey on a daily basis, ongoingly? That wouldn't have happened evolutionary. So is it ideal? I don't think so. Can you handle it? Yeah, he seems to be handling it fine. But it doesn't mean that it's the right thing for anyone to do. But is it the wrong thing? I don't know. Steve, I haven't seen you for a while. Welcome. Uh, yes, that would trigger me as well. I'm glad I don't have a TV. Taylor, I started experimenting with animal products again recently after being vegan for 5 years. I have brutal IBS. I had a few tablespoons of hummus and was in pain for 2 days. Beans give me issues. Holy shit. Any advice? I also have some sort of intolerance to eggs. I get these weird bumps on my fingers and inflammation in my thumbs. So Taylor, you started experimenting with animal products recently, you say. So I'm not really sure how much are you eating now. Brutal IBS. So do you get the IBS when you're eating the animal products as well? I would just actually, if you can, I'm not saying that you can because your digestive system might still need more time to adjust to it. But if you can, then remove all the vegetables for a period of time and just let your intestines heal. If that would be hard on your digestive system because you can't digest it, I would go to and take some betaine HCl with pepsin for a period of time. That might have to be titrated up to a fairly high dose if you're not used to actually digesting proteins or animal proteins. And you might also want to, if fat is an issue for you, you might want to look at something like ox bile to help you, and then do that for a period of time and give your inside the ability to heal for a while before you start introducing plants again, if you're going to do that. And just it might take you a little while, you know. Unfortunately, the body can take its time to heal as well as it takes before you actually get sick. Okay, so what's going on here? I can't move the chat anymore. Okay, here we go. Strange. John Doe, I'm ELI, protein C, 1 milligram per liter, good. Triglycerides 0.54. My transaminases and gamma glutamate are very good. Testa good. TSH good. PSA very good. Kidney good. Vitamin D 71.8. Cool. That's pretty good. Like, I'm not sure if that was just a comment, but oh, there was another one after. Keto gets you good results. More data to come with my CGM. Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, I was looking at it as everything is good. I mean, that vitamin D is just spot on. A lot of people that are out all summer long have trouble getting up to that anyway, so that's pretty darn good, I must say. Congratulations. Taylor, I've also had really bad brain fog when my gut flares up. Well, that's no wonder, because if you are inflamed, your brain's going to be inflamed as well, so it kind of all goes hand in hand, so there's no surprise there. Cornell, did I miss you? I'm so sorry I missed this one. It didn't pop up for me. Should speech be censored when it's offensive? I mean, that's such an, you know, personal or, objective thing. Everyone will have an opinion on that. So I think in general, if you have nothing nice to say, then shut the fuck up. But on the other hand, I also think every single person on earth needs to take some responsibility for how they are interpreting what they hear or what's going on. Because you can't dictate what other people should say or what they are saying. So, you know, I haven't had too many trolls here, but someone uh, posted a comment once asking, they were saying, what exactly did they say? Not to be mean, but is this a transvestite or something like that? I don't know if I look like a guy, but apparently they thought so. And, that wasn't a very nice thing to say, but I just deleted the comment and whatever. You're entitled to your opinion. Obviously, this person, whether they wanted to be mean or not, God, I'm losing my voice and I don't have any water. Um, what can you do? It's just, you have to take some responsibility to manage your own emotions around that and what that means to you. And I have no clue who that person is, why they said it, why they thought so, if they thought so. And, I look the way I look. I can't really do a lot about it. Well, I could, I suppose, use a lot of makeup and do whatever, but if I actually look like a man, then that's just going to make it look worse, isn't it? So I don't necessarily think that it should be censored, but I also think that maybe sometimes people could be nicer to each other, you know? Uh, well, that's going to be horrible, but thank you. It's giving me tap water. I can't drink that. Fucking horrible.
That's straight out of the RO filter.
Okay, but
Cheeky bitch.
it's still it's not snake juice, and I always have salt in my water. I can't drink that. Thank you. I appreciate the gesture. That's very nice of him. Hi, Christina. Dum dum dum. Might have to drink a little bit of it. Yeah, it's very, very sweet when you're used to having salt in your water. Right. Okay, so yes, we have now started discussing Cornell's picture, and yeah, he's absolutely allowed to have that picture. Yes, that picture will, Cornell says, doesn't matter to who. The picture might be offensive to some people. I have childhood friends whose grandparents were in the concentration camps. They might be upset by that. And why is that? Is because they are going to associate this picture with some horrible event that happened to their relatives. Now, in my opinion, it's actually up to them to manage their emotions around this. Now, we could say that maybe, yeah, okay, maybe Cornell doesn't have to use that picture, but for whatever reason he chooses to use that picture. And really, it shouldn't be offensive to anyone. And if it is, they need to actually take some responsibility around that and manage that themselves, in my opinion. But, everyone's going to have an opinion about that. Some people are going to think that, it's totally unnecessary, don't do it, you're an idiot, whatever. Fine, you're entitled to your opinion as well. I don't know why we're discussing this, because in the end of the day, I'm here to discuss nutrition. So don't fight amongst yourselves. Taylor, I did try carnivore for about 2 days. Felt very nauseous and my digestion seemed very slow. I think that my stomach acid is definitely low. I do have some HCl. Yeah. So if you only done it for, I don't know how long you have been incorporating animal foods, but what I would do is like take the plants that are not offensive to your intestines, add some sort of animal foods. Eggs are usually easier to digest, etc. But I think you said you were sensitive to them, so that might not work for you. It might be easier for you to digest things that have been, if you have a slow cooker and you put something in there and you're really cooking it for a very long period of time so that you properly break down the fibers and you start eating more and more of that, then, up your protein or your animal food intake. That sounds very weird. Your animal based I don't even know what I'm talking about. Your meat intake. Let's just say meat. It's easier. Your meat intake over time, and then kind of replace those plants and try to get them out of your system if they are upsetting you at all, and go that way. So just go slower if it doesn't work, and don't be scared of increasing the beta HCl either. Sometimes some people need to be on quite high doses for a while, but just keep in mind that you want to titrate it down after a period of time again. So you don't want to be on that forever. Fish doesn't seem to bother me, though. I don't get inflammation eating it. Same with chicken. Luckily, our chicken in Canada is hormone-free, so that's a plus. Okay, well, that's great. So you start with that and you eat as much as possible of that. But I would encourage you to incorporate some red meats as well. But as I said, you can maybe go to the slow cooker and put, a piece of lamb in there or whatever you want to do, and just let it actually cook over a very long period of time. And that might make it a lot easier for you to digest. Zach, those powdered soups, aren't they put under a forced heating process and therefore oxidized? A few keto specialists claim those powdered cappuccino sachets are heart cloggers and avoid them. Depends on how much fat there is. It's the fat that is going to get oxidized. Well, I say that obviously you can kind of attach things to other things as well. I don't know. I haven't looked into that particularly, but yes, a forced heating process of any type, that can absolutely do that. Now, they might have been processed in an air-free environment, in which case that's not necessarily happening. But you know what? Sometimes I just feel like we're spending so much time and energy looking at these kind of things when it's so much easier to just not eat anything that is processed. Why not just stay away from it and be safe, rather than doing hours and hours of research on something just to find out whether it's actually okay to eat that processed food or not? Why not just avoid all processed foods? That's just my opinion. It makes everything easier, and that is more of a guarantee for you to get something that is nutritious and good for you into your body. Yeah, it takes about 20 weeks to adapt. You might have better luck tapering down. Yeah, 20 weeks, for some people it takes longer. Some people are quicker, but coming from a vegan diet, you're probably looking at the longer time. Me too. I had some good manuka. Might be worth me trying to get some local, though. Although I'm not sure I like the short-term sugar spikes on my mood. Okay, so Mita, have you been following Paul Saladino and his honey experiment? Because I don't. If you're saying that it affects your mood, it probably does. But for him, it seems to be working fine. So maybe it is that you can't actually do honey, but other people can. So. Yeah, scroll past anything you don't like. So Taylor says, yeah, I definitely jumped into it too fast. Should have gradually lowered my carb intake instead of trying zero carb right away. Yeah. But I understand you. We just want to get to where we want to go as quick as possible. And, it's easy to get carried away and want to do it. So I understand why you did it. Pims. I can feel your pheromones in your oxide. Interesting. Yes, I am a chick. That's cool. That's all correct. Pim, you do not look like a guy. Lol. Whoever said I was a little bitch. Well, yeah, I didn't think I did, but maybe in someone's opinion, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. I'm still confused who you guys are talking about. She was kind of rude as fuck, wasn't she? I don't know. Okay, sleep well, or actually slaap lekker. That's how you say it. I just had to think there for a while. Luke, I changed my workout schedule. Probably will have busy Saturdays. Was even more late today because of gardening labor. I might, I just might forgive you. Yes, someone did say my head looks vegan, and we all know who that was. But actually, that wasn't that wasn't offensive to me at all. That was funny. Okay. I think honey is a seasonal food like fruit, and even then only in fairly modest amounts. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. And I think the best way of eating, if you're going to incorporate other things than meat, which I am, I think I think the seasonal approach is probably the best way of doing it. But the problem is that many of us can't do that. Many of us were just, oh, I like this, I'm going to eat it all year round. That's me and the blueberries, for example. Or, would I avoid all fruits or berries as it is, or winter just because I should? I probably won't, because I can have it. Could I do it? Potentially. Do I want to do it? Meh. I don't feel that motivated to do it. I don't see that it would benefit me that much. But I'm not eating blueberries every day. I'm not having like 500 grams of blueberries every day or whatever. So, okay. Shell, funny, Pim can't conceive that it might have been her being rude. Of course I'm not rude. What are you talking about? You guys. I wouldn't ever be rude. And that was actually last comment. So we're kind of just 11 minutes over time, so which is really good. And I have an interview booked in for later today, but if she's not turning up again, I'll probably be over at Bart's live stream and be rude, live up to the rumors here. If you don't see me, I will be busy. Liver every day. Well, if you can do that, it's probably good, unless you're overdosing on it. But yeah. Oh, how did you first meet Bart and what was it like? Let's not do that today. I think we have covered that one before. You can go through his live streams, every single one where I was. Why is it that some people are allergic to honey? I think it's a pollen in there. So depending on what sort of pollen you have in there, probably. Oh, Necro, I'm glad you're here though. Love you. Hail to the Pirate Queen. Thank you. Hail me. Is it true that if I drink 2,653 glasses of milk, my bones will become unbreakable? No, it's not true. Is eating 200 grams of liver every day, I suppose? Okay, isn't that too much vitamin A? That might be too much vitamin A. I don't know why you would eat 200 grams of liver every day. But, having some every day is probably okay. If you eat 200 grams of liver every day, all year round, you might be in trouble, yes. Yes, fruit increases testosterone, which ties in with our gestation period, 9 months to give spring babies. Makes sense. That's an interesting thought. I've never thought about that, Mita. Thanks for sharing that. See, see, that way. Here, it's starting to dissolve at the edges. Needs to be fixed. And no, just because I start wrapping it up, you come in with lots of comments. Many carnivores say, for example, that they are 90% or 95% carnivore. Just wondering what the non-carnivore bits is for others. Coffee, avocados, and olive oil for me, plus don't look like a guy. For me, mainly blueberries. I'm doing coffee on work days because it keeps me from being starved at work. I'm doing egg coffee, for those of you who know that. So that's 3 eggs in a jug of coffee with butter. What else do I do? I do with my carpaccio. I actually do like doing olive oil and some what's it called? Jesus, my brain. The vinegar, the sweet vinegar. There is some sugar in that vinegar. The black version, you know. Balsamic is what it's called. I think it's time for me to stop this and go and eat something maybe. So that's probably my non-carnivorous things. That's why I don't, that's why I've started saying that I'm meat-based. I'm not carnivore. I don't like, because if I say that I'm carnivore and then someone finds out that I'm eating blueberries or I'm having some olive oil or something, then I have to hand my carnivore card in, and I'm not allowed to say that I'm a carnivore. So let's just say meat-based. Daniel says, I don't eat liver every day, only for a few days when I fry a large portion up with bacon, and that's probably perfectly fine. Whoa, jump. Bacon and liver blended with MCT oil is great, maybe with some herbs in there as well. There you go. Not sure why you're adding the MCT oil. Is that for a specific reason? You need a good grass-fed liver there. Grain-fed doesn't taste as good. 20-gram beef, lamb, even liver twice a day shouldn't be an issue there. No, definitely not. Absolutely not. That's not enough to. Yes, balsamic. The beef vinegar. I still love my coffee, but I swear it gives me a crappy blood sugar crash most days. What do you think about this? Should I just get off the bean juice for a bit? Yes, that's what I think. If it crashes your blood sugar, absolutely. What it should do, so what happens is that it stimulates your adrenals, which will release sugar from the liver to increase your blood sugar, and then you're probably getting a crash right after that. Yeah, I'm having a sugar crash. I'm having a brain crash. Necro says to Shell, my dad died this week. I'm not in the best of moods, just existing right now. Yes, we all love you, Necro Kitty, and I know how awful that is, and I'm hoping that, you're gonna feel better soon. I know it will take time. It does, and take your time. I'm glad that you're here though. John Doe, I discovered that the simple fact of getting up and taking a shower in the morning can take my blood glucose from 75 to 87. Interesting. That's very interesting. So, what time is that? It sounds almost like the dawn phenomenon, but why would that happen when you're showering? And does it not happen if you are not showering? I need to fix this screen because that's really annoying, even though we almost finished. So, there you go. Yeah, I'm wondering, are you having a cold shower? What are you doing? MCT for raising ketones, helping with focus and concentration afterwards. Maybe it's just a placebo effect for me though. Do you need help with raising your ketones though, is my question. Because if you're eating a very low carb diet, you should have enough ketones anyway. But sure, some people do say that it does help a little bit with the concentration. If it does, happy days, I'm glad for you. It's just a little bit of an expensive way of, just for raising the ketones. But if it actually helps with something and you notice a difference, why not keep doing it? Yes, unfortunately, parents do go away. We don't like it. We hate it, actually. Okay, so regular shower. I don't know what could be going on there. Because it does sound like, there's some sort of stress response that will release that if it just happens when you're showering. But it's certainly very interesting, and I can't think of anything on the top of my head that would cause that sugar rush. I'm sorry. Yeah, make your body make its own ketones. That's the whole point. Yeah, sure. Okay, so okay, so even getting dressed triggers the same rise of my blood sugar. So it's some sort of activity. Your body's probably just responding then to you doing anything and releases more sugar, and that could be very related to the dawn phenomenon. What time is that in the morning, John? Just out of interest. If it's early, that's probably even more likely to be the reason. But you do have a lot of, you know, um, cortisol and adrenaline, noradrenaline that actually pumps out early in the morning to help you wake up and to get you ready for the day. So this might just be that it kind of keeps going, and when you start moving around, your body's just hypersensitive and will react to that a bit more, maybe. I have to have some more of this water. Okay. So before you leave, I wonder if this is the one. Yes. So if you are of a mind, I want to just let you know, I'm getting rid of this so that you can see that you're more than welcome to join me over at patreon.com/Pim Jansson. And you can join as a $1 patron just to support the channel. That would be $1 every month, which is not a lot of money for most people. If you just want to be nice, support the channel, but there are other ways that you can do that as well, by sharing and asking people to subscribe to the channel, etc., and helping it grow. I appreciate anything that you can do, and I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you asking and commenting, and it's great fun to have you here. Yes, join my fine patron. When I have 20 patrons, at the moment I have 5 or 6, I think. I'm going to start having Patreon only monthly Q&As where I will be answering questions in much more depth than I'm doing here. So if that's of interest, obviously that will be coming as well. But I've said 20, so that is worthwhile doing, and that we actually will have some questions that we can dig into. So that's one way of doing it. I do appreciate your super chats. Thank you so much, Cornell, and the super sticker that came in as well. And now we'll just have a quick look here if there's anything else. Yes, so John Doe says earlier around 6, 7 a.m. That could absolutely be the dawn phenomenon. If you're ever sleeping in later, check if the same thing is happening then. My guess would be that it doesn't. But that's just me. Taylor, thanks for your suggestions. I'm going to take them. So tired of feeling like crap. And I want to say as well, Taylor, and anyone else on Patreon, you can also join for monthly affordable consultations. I have both once a month and twice a month options there if you're interested in that. So if you can't work it out, Taylor, and you need my help, you can just head over there and sign up for the higher tier where the consultation is included, and I will help you over Zoom or Skype or whatever works. Okay. But Discord already knows. For the most part, I actually haven't really shared anywhere else online. They have been very supportive of me. Yes. Lots of good vibes coming Necrokitty's way. I know it's not going to help right now, but we do all feel for you. And we're all here for you as well if you want and need us. Yes, it's a consultation issue. Yeah, it could be. You're welcome, Taylor. Good luck. And I'm sure you will get there, but, it might need some tinkering around. So that's just, a last piece of advice for everyone. In the end of the day, it's about getting you to feel good with what you're doing. So try things. If it doesn't feel good, then don't do it, even though that is supposed to be the best thing on earth to do for you. So we just need to tinker around a lot, and things might change with time as well. So So just think about that and adjust. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I do appreciate you all, and I will see you on Tuesday when I'm premiering the video, the interview that I had with Philip. And then I'll see you again next week and live again. Bye.